How you doing? It's Luke from lukecurtis.co.uk. If you're coming back to my channel and this is another video of mine that you're watching, first of all I just want to say a massive thank you. If this is the first time you've landed on my channel, I'm really grateful that you're taking the time to watch the video. If you find it useful, please check out some of my other videos and also subscribe, because I'll continue to produce more and more of these videos. So for those that don't know me, I am a freelance photographer based in London, and my genre of photography is music, particularly dance music. So originally I started off shooting clubs and festivals and things like that, but over the years my skill has become more technical and I've moved towards shooting portraits. When you shoot portraits in the dance music scene, for artists, they tend to be called press shots. In the States I think they're called EPK, which is electronic press kit. In the UK we call it a press kit. And that effectively is a DJ's resume. It's so important to have a very accurate resume and an up-to-date resume that covers the look of the DJ, the genre of music they play, autobiography, which covers, insight into them and some of their highlights throughout their career. Because ultimately that's what's going to make the booker decide whether they put them on the decks or don't put them on the decks. So it's really crucial you work with a group of professionals to be able to develop a professional press kit. And some of the things that you should include, I'll go into in the video. The reason I'm making this video is because it's my specialism, I understand it, so I can speak firsthand about what does and what doesn't work. And the importance of branding in this day and age is huge. If you look at any company that has been successful over the last few hundred years, they will all be associated with a logo. Steve Jobs, an apple. Bill Gates, a window. Ferrari, a horse. Lamborghini, a raging bull. Red Bull, a ball. As soon as you think of a company or you think of an individual, there tends to be an association to branding, and branding is so important for a DJ because it's a super competitive industry and it's artistic as well. So you need to be able to define yourself enough to be able to stand out from the crowd, but also be able to send a message across that identifies you as unique, and what would make a booker decide to book you as opposed to somebody else. And some of the things that I would recommend to go in a press kit are as follows. First thing would be a logo. A logo is really crucial. I have a logo and I share it across all of my socials, and I highly recommend anybody else to have a logo. A good example of people in the dance music industry that have good logos would be deadmau5. You cannot mistake him for anybody else. Daft Punk. You cannot mistake them for anybody else. Marshmello. The guy runs around with a giant marshmallow on his head. You cannot mistake him for anybody else, but he stands out. That's part of his brand. In the UK, we have a couple of DJs called Solado, and they have a really unique look to them in terms of always wearing wacky, leery shirts. And 3 years ago, if one of my friends wore one of those shirts out, I'd probably tell him to go home and change, or I'd refuse to go out of them. Whereas the guys have made it an in thing, and it shows how much influence an artist can have on fashion and culture by being confident and making their personal brand stand out amongst a sea of sort of noise. So a logo is absolutely crucial, and I would recommend working with a graphic designer, a professional, to produce you a logo that represents you. So if you have a alter ego, Spider-Man, Peter Parker, if you have a DJ name, try to have it associated to that and stick with it. Once you find something you like, solidly stick with it and stick it on all of your marketing material, because people will start to associate that with you, and it's absolutely key. The next one would be the press images themselves, and that's where someone like me comes into it, a photographer. I hugely recommend working with a professional, and the reason I recommend working with a professional is, yes, your friend might have a £200 DSLR, or yes, your friend might be able to take a few cool pictures with their iPhone, but they won't have the technical ability to be able to do really advanced things with lighting that are going to help you stand out, or understand using a location, or taking advantage of the golden hour. I highly recommend working with a professional, and the reason I recommend it is, you're trying to pursue a career, and it's an investment in yourself. You want to look good in front of this scene. If there are 5 people and 3 of which have taken pictures with iPhone and 2 of them have had a professional photo shoot in a studio on location, and you line up those CVs or those press kits on a table and a booker looks at them, the first 2 they're probably going to go for are the professional ones, because they look professional. Those people have invested in themselves and been able to define themselves enough and respect themselves enough to be able to put themselves across in a professional manner. It's really important as well, and one of the reasons it's important is because first impressions. So I think it's 80 to 90% of non-verbal, so this is speaking no words, non-verbal first impressions are made in the first 5 seconds. So you don't even have to stand in front of a crowd and play to them. They might have seen you on Instagram or they might have seen you on Facebook. And if your array of images are unprofessional, they're gonna make up a decision on the non-verbal communications. You've had no opportunity to speak to them and put your point across or play your music to hear your sound. They're just gonna go on the visuals and go, oh no, I don't like that dude because he didn't invest in himself or herself to be able to portray himself in the best light. I would recommend with a press shot to have 20 images in total, and those images need to be a combination of studio shot images and location shot images. So you've got a real blend of looks, so you can use them throughout the year and use them for different gigs. Also a combination of low key and high key images. And the reason I say that is it's about defining yourself. If, for instance, I was a techno DJ, the majority of my images would be more low-key, which is shooting with a darker background. And the reason you do that is the techno scene is associated with darker, wearing black clothes, black trousers, black trainers. It's the look. If you was going to be a more commercial DJ and working for somebody like Glitterbots, which was a focus around disco, you're going to want colours. It's going to want to be high-key and have colours to be able to show that that's the genre of music you're associated to, which is absolutely crucial. The next thing you're going to need is a biography. So basically your show reel in writing. So it's about, what made you want to be a DJ? What are you influenced by? What are the highlights of your career? What do you plan to do? What's your social media following? This biography and the images and the logos, they all go together to create this press kit or your resume or your CV. And that's what you're going to use to get work and find work. And it's what I've been doing for the last, year and a half, basically, just shooting portrait images that DJs are going to go use to get work. And it's phenomenal seeing DJs use your images, and it's even more phenomenal seeing you work with a DJ to produce something that's absolutely stand out. And there's lots of people out there trying to do the same thing, and there's this DJ stands out because his images are phenomenal. I got to shoot some stuff with the guys at Abode, and one of the things I wanted to use was a projector. So I used all of their logos and their logo names and projected them over them onto a wall to create this really urban, rough, futuristic look. And it was phenomenal. It was totally stand out. And it's great to be able to do that because, as I say, it's super competitive. Why do you want to look like everybody else? Of course, there are themes within the photographic world and within the music scene that you will follow, but always try to create a bit of a twist on it, and that's what I've done with this video. So I've shot my own press shots, which is a bit of it weird basically, but I love using gels and I love using the clash of red and blue light. So what I've done is I use a combination of red and blue light and also used a gobo, and a gobo to create the look of shading, almost looking through slanted windows and the light is beaming in. It's a look I wanted to go for, it's really sort of noir kind of style, but really futuristic with the colour. And you'll only get that by working with a professional. You could go and get some snaps shot on an iPhone, but you need a real professional setup to be able to produce a look like that. And that's really what this video is about, is trying to help you understand what you need to make a press kit, and also the important factors. And for me, the priority would be get a logo, because that's going to stay with you solidly. Work on professional images that you can use and change them throughout your career. So year on year, change them and update them and refresh them as you move. And an autobiography, highlight all of your key moments. And then the last part is your socials. So your press kit must link into your socials, because it's not just about the sound anymore, it's about the look, it's about the following, it's about the audience, it's about the engagement with your audience. Is a booker going to book somebody who doesn't have a great following, or going to book somebody with a following? Because if it's the venue booking you, of course they want somebody with a following, because that's going to bring in all the audience, which from a business perspective is going to put more bums on seats, which is business 101 effectively. So that's my video on press kits. If you have any questions, please do pop them into the comment below. If you like the video, subscribe. If you have any suggestions for future videos, please pop them in the comments as well. And yeah, please do check out some of my other work. I really appreciate your time. Thank you. And if you're pursuing a career as a DJ, I wish you all the best. And if you want any advice on look and image and places to go to define yourself, please do get in touch. Cheers.